Hi, my name is James Heberling. This presentation will be an overview of 5 different evidence-based procedures that we've either discussed this semester or that I've learned in my career at Ball State. So I'll begin with a brief description of each evidence-based procedure. I will be explaining 5 of them, starting with functional communication training. I will be explaining peer-mediated interventions. I will explain some mediated interventions, video modeling, and picture exchange communication system. That might have been out of order. Can't remember. So after I discuss them briefly, to give you a little overview, I will discuss some advantages and disadvantages to the procedures, the population it could be used for. And then after that, I will share some of the local providers that are near to me on the island of Oahu, Hawaii. And I will give you a list of providers that use these evidence-based procedures that I will be discussing in this presentation. So without further ado, thank you for viewing this. Let's get started. So the first evidence-based procedure that I want to discuss is the picture exchange communication system. So PECS was developed in 1944 to help nonverbal children have a more meaningful way to communicate their wants and needs. The PECS has been shown to increase language among children that are nonverbal, verbal, and children that are diagnosed with autism, as well as children with cognitive delays. It has also been shown to decrease frustration and negative behaviors displayed by children who are nonverbal. Additionally, PECS training has proven successful when used in early intensive training and in later childhood up until ages of 9 and 10. The PECS has gained widespread attention because it's easy to implement. It can be taught relatively rapidly. It provides a meaningful communication between the communicator and the environment, and it is inexpensive. Excuse me. The picture exchange communication system was created to teach children diagnosed with autism and other developmental disabilities a successful and easy form of communication both in play and academic situations. PECS is divided into 6 phases, and I will explain those here in a minute. So each phase builds upon the previous phase that is taught. And the system focuses on training the individual to initiate requests, respond to questions, and make social comments. And that's kind of the order that the phases are taught. So Frost and Bundy set standards for the PECS model, and they include 6 phases. These phases are taught using prompts and differential reinforcement. So here's the 6 phases. The physical exchange, so the exchange of a picture or typically a picture. Expanding spontaneity, so the approach of the child to their communicative partner. Picture discrimination, sentence structure, a question such as what do you want? And lastly, commenting. Successful implementation of PECS has shown improvements in the number of words spoken, the complexity and the length of a word phrase, and decrease in non-word utterances of participants with ASD. It's also been shown to decrease problem behaviors, and in a long-term study, by Karlop and Christie, they wanted to determine any maintenance effects of an intervention. They determined that there are long-term effects on social communicative skills in children 12 months after treatment has been discontinued. So that's it for PECs. So next is peer-mediated instruction and intervention. So as a way to improve social reciprocity in a more natural social context, peer-mediated interventions are used to promote social learning opportunities through peer interventions, peer modeling, and peer reinforcement. So over the years, social skill training has emphasized in the school setting for helping students with autism. Many of these students learn their interactional skills through adult direction. Peer mediated instruction and interventions emphasize the involvement of typically developing peers as socially competent facilitators to promote appropriate communicative and social behaviors. Peer mediated interventions encompasses um, many teaching strategies. Um, there are these peer mediated interventions have been organized into three approaches according to peer expectancies to promote interaction. So one, manipulation of the situation or contingencies. Um, two, peer instruction in social interaction strategies. And three, instruction of the target child in initiation strategies. The first approach encourages children with autism to initiate with peers by creating learning and modeling opportunities. The second aim at teaching the typically developing peer specific social skill strategies to enhance um, social interaction with students with autism. And finally, the third approach increases peer effectiveness by teaching students with autism initiation skills. Peer mediation, peer mediated interventions usually take place in the classroom or in the community. The child's natural social environment is more preferable, though. So, in addition, it is important to establish peer positive attitudes towards the person with autism and to create a supportive environment for social interaction. Peer mediated instruction and intervention meets evidence based criteria with 15 single case design studies. This intervention has been shown to be effective for preschoolers 3 to 5 and high school age learners 15 to 18 years of age with ASD. Peer mediated instruction and intervention is effective to address social, communication, joint attention, play, social readiness, and academic skills. The third evidence-based procedure that I'd like to share is parent-implemented intervention, PII. Parent-implemented intervention entails parents directly using individualized intervention practices with their children to increase positive learning opportunities and acquisition of important skills. Parents learn to implement such practices in their home and or their community through a structured parent training program. Parent implemented intervention includes programs in which parents are responsible for carrying out some, if not all, of the intervention with their child. Parents are trained by professionals one-on-one or in group format in home or community settings. Methods for training parents vary, but they may include didactic instruction, discussions, modeling, coaching, or performance feedback. Parents may be trained to teach their child new skills such as communication, play, or self-help, and or to decrease challenging behaviors. Once parents are trained, they proceed to implement all or part of the intervention with their child. PII meets evidence-based criteria with 8 group designs and 12 single case study designs. This evidence-based procedure is appropriate for toddlers. It's effective for toddlers 0 to the age of 2, Elementary school age learners, 6 to 11. I'm sorry, yeah. Okay, so just those two groups, toddlers 0 to 2, and then elementary school learners 6 to 11 with ASD. Okay, sorry, bear with me. The potential benefits of parent training are increased skills, renewed confidence, um, and reduced stress for both the parents and the child. All right. So on to the fourth evidence-based procedure here, which is functional communication training. So FCT is one of the most commonly used interventions for reducing challenging behaviors. Furthermore, research shows that FCT can be used for individuals from a wide range of populations, abilities, and types of problem behavior. Functional communication training is typically used with functional analysis. I'm sorry. Functional communication training is typically used when a functional analysis indicates that the behavior is reinforced by socially mediated consequences. A study identified that FCT is the most commonly implemented intervention prescribed based on the results of a functional analysis. With FCT, escape is provided contingent on an appropriate communication response, and the problem behavior is typically placed on extinction. For example, if the replacement behavior, break please, is used instead of the target behavior, the child will be allowed to escape. Furthermore, if the inappropriate behavior is used, such as hitting, the problem behavior will be placed on extinction, continuing with the instruction and prompt following the inappropriate behavior. FCT is typically considered to be a form of differential reinforcement of alternative behavior. FCT does have some major advantages over DRA treatment because FCT interventions are directly linked to functional analysis results. When FCT was first introduced, when FCT is first introduced, the alternative, more appropriate replacement behavior, sometimes called the functional communicative response or FCR, is reinforced on a very tight schedule, usually a fixed ratio schedule of reinforcement. The dense reinforcement schedule, along with the extinction of the target behavior, disarms the target behavior very quickly, rendering it ineffective at contacting reinforcement. Furthermore, frequent access to the reinforcer weakens the establishing operation for problem behavior. Onto the final evidence-based procedure that I will be discussing in this presentation is video modeling. Video modeling is a well-established behavioral intervention, well documented in the field of ABA, that was created to make a way for observational learning. Video modeling has proved to be particularly beneficial for teaching a variety of skills to individuals with autism, including increasing vocalizations and communication, social and play skills, motion processing, academics, and adaptive behavior. A review of 19 studies suggests that video modeling interventions were related to gains in social communicative behaviors, functional living skills, answering perspective questions, and challenging behavior. The effectiveness of video modeling has been speculated because of features of autism such as over-selective attention, a limiting focus, preference for visual stimuli, and avoidance of eye-to-eye contact may be addressed while using video modeling. Individuals with autism tend to be more responsive to visually cued instructions and show strengths in processing visual information over verbal information. Additionally, video modeling allows for opportunities to learn through social models without starting with a face-to-face interaction. It is theorized that video support observational learning in the following ways. First, video modeling appears to improve the attention of the individuals with autism by directing their attention towards relevant stimuli and away from irrelevant stimuli. Secondly, repetition allows retention of the target skills facilitated by the video modeling procedures. Thirdly, video modeling allows for the production of target behaviors through practice. And lastly, in terms of motivation, children with autism display an acute interest in visual information, such as television and videos. Video modeling interventions have led to generalization across settings, stimuli, generative skill acquisition, peers, social communicative behaviors, and perspective taking. Other practical considerations for videos as learning tools include control over the modeling procedure, repetition of the same models, and the reuse of the videotapes for the individuals. One of the major challenges with video modeling, the skills needed for preparing the video model. So the editing and the recording can be, you do have to be somewhat tech savvy, so that could be considered a disadvantage, especially if you are not tech savvy. Video modeling may not be developmentally appropriate for all students, so cases should be assessed on an individual basis to determine if video modeling could be beneficial. So next, I will be sharing some local services on the island of Oahu that provide evidence-based practices like some that I've just reviewed. So the first is Kuhn Behavioral Consulting Services. They're located here in Honolulu. And I will just briefly go through some of this. I'm not going to read everything, but the information's there: location, contact information, a little blurb on the bottom of who they are. Provided that for every single provider. Easter seals. I actually had the privilege of meeting a lot of these groups, such as the ABC group. I met the Malama today. I met Olama today. So we had an autism walk, and it was a really great opportunity just to meet other people providing services on this island, making some connections, making some contacts, just being able to converse with other people in this field. So that was really great. So as you can see, I think I provided a list of 7 here. Pretty good list here. We do have some like Kuhn Behavioral Consulting Services up here, back to the top. They do in-home services. I believe ABC does as well. Hawaii Behavioral Health is in-home services. I believe Malama Pono, they do, there's a clinic. Maloa, I'm fairly certain that's a clinic as well. Here's Pacific Autism Center. And STEPS, I believe this is my last one. I actually had the opportunity to meet them, the owner of STEPS, as well today. And here's a list of my references. Thank you very much for watching this presentation.